followed a procedure that I read about in a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. And ultimately, what it has you do is create a very clear vision of the person and the life you want to have 10 years from now. So if you're 20, imagine what you want to be, look, feel like when you're 30. If you're 30, do it for when you're 40. If you're 40, do it for when you're 50. You get the idea. Hi everyone, it's Tina with Picture It Personal Finance, and I always ask you to picture your goal, plan to achieve it, and enjoy the process. Today I want to talk about goal setting. I think we can all take a collective sigh of relief that 2020 is coming to a close, and even though I know that my own personal goals for 2020 were pretty much thrown by the wayside when COVID hit and everything went sideways, I can tell you I am still extremely excited about planning for 2021. I will follow much of the same procedure that I used for goal setting for this year. However, I've got a few twists that I'm going to make in the coming year that I wanted to share with all of you. So to begin with, the main thing that I'm introducing this year that I had not previously done is I am establishing a theme for the year. Now that I am an entrepreneur and a small business owner, I recognize the importance of thriving and connecting with other people in a community. Now, that community could be electronic or it could be physical in my own neighborhood. It could be a part of a school or a volunteer association. But I recognize that in 2021, I really need to get more involved with other people, especially since I am a truly introverted person. On my own, I would choose to stay home and watch a movie or hang out with my kids most nights, probably 9 nights out of 10. And as a matter of fact, I do that. Now, I do that because that's my nature, not just because of social distancing and all those things that pandemic brings. So, as I am ever the optimist, and I do hope that the pandemic will lessen, especially with the introduction of the vaccine, that in this coming year, I will find ways to virtually and physically engage with a community. So thriving and connecting is my overarching theme, and it is my desire to ensure that all of my goals for my 6 major categories touch upon that theme in some way. The major categories that I use for setting my goals are 6, and I stole them from Dave Ramsey, or borrowed them, learned them, however you want to say it, from Dave Ramsey during one of his year-end videos. And these include faith, family, fitness and financials, social and intellectual. Now, I am still in the process of refining what my goals will actually be for 2021. There are a few that are carryovers that I will continue. So, for example, in my intellectual category, I will continue to read 2 books or listen to 2 audiobooks every month because I just absolutely love that. I know it's something that many successful people do, and I want to be in the ranks of those with success. So that is a carryover item that I will absolutely maintain going into 2021. However, as I introduce new goals, I want to make sure that not only are they aligning with my theme for the year, but also that they're aligning with the person I want to become. With that in mind, I have gone through the exercise this year, which I've never really done in the past, of mapping out a 10-year vision for myself. And what I mean by mapping that out is I followed a procedure that I read about in a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. And ultimately, what it has you do is create a very clear vision of the person and the life you want to have 10 years from now. So if you're 20, imagine what you want to be, look, feel like when you're 30. If you're 30, do it for when you're 40. If you're 40, do it for when you're 50. You get the idea. As you're working out this 10-year plan or vision for yourself, here are some of the questions you should ask yourself for each of those categories that I mentioned: work, home, and social. For work, you should ask, what income level do I want to attain? What level of responsibility do I want? How much authority do I want to have? And what degree of prestige do I expect to receive from my employment? For home, you should ask, what kind of standard of living do I want to have for myself and for my family? What kind of house do I want to have? And really go into detail with this. Do you want a 3,000 square foot house? Do you want a bungalow? Do you want a condo? Do you want to be on the beach? Do you want to be in the mountains? Really think about the full specification of what it is you're looking to accomplish. What kind of vacations do you want to take for yourself and for your family? And what financial support do I want to give my kids as they enter adulthood? And then from the social standpoint, what kind of friends do I want to have? What social groups do I want to join? What community leadership positions would I like to attain? And what worthwhile causes would I like to devote my time and attention toward? These are the types of questions that, frankly, I hadn't really thought about. Maybe a bit of it I had thought about with work or what my house might look like in the future as I've done things like vision boards in the past, but really thinking through what I want to have as a, 50-year-old or a 60-year-old, these had not really crossed my mind in the past. And I've realized that as I set goals for this coming year, if they are not working toward the person that I want to be 10 years from now or the life that I want to have 10 years from now, even if they have a short-term goal, thinking of 1 year really as a short-term time frame, then it's not going to ultimately culminate in the life or the person that I want to be. So I wanted to really introduce this topic to you because while I've always been an advocate for goal setting, I really have had a much shorter view of my future. I have this daydream of who I might be when I'm a grandma to my kids' kids, but I hadn't really thought about who might be a role model that I could look at now who is the type of grandmother that I would want to be. Lastly, one thing I did learn coming out of 2020 is that while I absolutely believe it's important to have monthly goals that will help you attain your annual goals, I am learning that this year I am not going to map out my entire year's worth of goals at the start of the year. I think this was an error that I made, and it caused a bit of undue stress when, like I said, things went sideways. So with that in mind, I have decided that this year, while I'm going to establish some goals for myself for the full year, so set some clear expectations on what I want to achieve, I will focus on doing 30-day action plans the month before the month that they would unfold. So for example, at the last week of December, I will map out my 30-day action plan for January and then do my utmost to align with that plan and adhere to that plan. Some of the things that I'll consider as I work through these 30-day action plans is I will consider what are habits that I would like to discontinue, what are practices that I would like to introduce, what are things that I could do to strengthen my mind and strengthen my health, and what are ways that I could increase value for my home and for my business. So perpetually asking questions, how could I add more value? How can I serve my customers, my clients, and my family better? These are going to be rhythmic questions that I ask on a frequent basis in order to create and evolve those 30-day action plans as I conclude every month. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a like and a share. Comment if there's something that you have to say on the topic, and if there's anything that you would like me to focus on in future discussions. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video.